It's Friday, May 6th. In the headlines, major crimes down for the year. Plans are afoot for primary healthcare reform. Regionally, new premier for BVI sworn in. And in sports, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price set to run at Kip Keino Classic. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Simone Absalom Gale. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is reporting an overall 6.2% decline in major crimes since the start of the year. The information was shared at a virtual press conference this week.
As at April the 30th, murders are up by 1.7%, with gang conflicts accounting for 72% of murders, interpersonal conflicts accounting for 14%, while 7% occurred in furtherance of criminal acts. Mob killings accounted for 1% and 6% are still being determined. Additionally, shootings are down by 12%, rapes are down by 21%, robberies are down by 10%, and break-ins are up by 6%.
When asked about the increased number of murders in St. Mary, Police Chief Major General Anthony Anderson explains what's happening.
The team there has done a number of things to get on top of this, and so we should see that slow down. But this conflict, these interpersonal conflicts, they start and it becomes a tit-for-tat thing, and then they play out. Some of them are related to one family, and then that plays out in a number of murders. So last year, they only had one, I think, up to this point, and this year, or two, and this year two up to this point, and this year they have 16. We also sent additional assets recently. I sent additional assets to St. Mary to assist them to address that problem.
The commissioner also revealed that 268 illegal firearms and over 5,500 rounds of ammunition have been seized since the start of 2022. He says the Joint Anti-Gang Task Force has been very active since its implementation, accounting for several arrests and seizures, including motor cars, bikes, and other paraphernalia used in crimes. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is embarking on a series of reforms to improve the delivery of primary or community health care over the next few years. This is being supported by the tabling of the Primary Health Care Reform for Jamaica 2021 to 2030. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton tabled the document while delivering his contribution to the sectoral debate this week.
This will include an upgrading and networking for telehealth services of over 130 health centers, and that has started to include telemedicine and electronic record capabilities and the use of digital technology to support continued education and a review of the clinical guidelines, as well as enhanced diagnostics. There will be a rollout of a new chronic care model for management of NCDs that will provide more curative services to reduce the backlog in our hospitals. Dr.
Tufton says further major investment in infrastructure within healthcare is what his government is focusing on to be able to right-size public health to match some of the challenges being faced. Dr. Tufton says starting this year, the government will commit over $5 billion to support large infrastructure projects. He gave an update on Cornwall Regional Hospital.
Just an update on Cornwall Regional in preparation for your visit, but more so for the country. I'm pleased to report that we have completed Phase 1 and 2A at a cost of some $1.3 billion, and Phase 2B has commenced, expected to cost some 1.7 billion Jamaican dollars. And Phase 2B is aimed at remedial work or structural, to deal with structural defects that were present in the building. This will include the strengthening of structural beams that had begun to deteriorate and the rehabilitation of the other support systems to make the building sound. So remember, you go into the basement, where we had to remove the chimney. That was the original design. And you will see when you go significant reinforcement work, steel work, and other things happening That's the phase 2B, which we hope will be completed. It is on time, on schedule. The ministry has also received cabinet approval for the use of design and build for the implementation of the final phase, phase 3. So that discussion is now taking place, and we will see that final phase leading to the restoration and reopening of the hospital.
Some residents of St. Thomas will experience a disruption in their water supply on Monday, May 9, starting at 10 a.m. The National Water Commission, NWC, is advising that the construction of the replacement well at the Springfield No. 2 facility in St. Thomas is at its final stage, and the newly drilled well is now ready for testing. The scheduled testing activities will result in the Springfield No. 1 water facility being taken out of operation on May 9 and May 15. Areas to be affected includes Morant Bay, Springfield, Dehaney Pen, Roselle, License, Western Prospect, York, Alexander Park, Retreat, Seaforth, and Higbury. Customers being served by the facility are being encouraged to store water for use during the disruption period. Time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
During a meeting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, on Wednesday, Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, Governor Biles faced intense criticism and was accused of being complicit in the banking sector's alleged rip-off of customers. Opposition member Fitz Jackson stated that not only are the operations of the local banks causing frustration among customers, but the BOJ, through its regulations, had compromised competition in the sector.
The fact of the matter is that many persons, including myself, become frustrated to go reproduce a set of information to another bank to open an account, whereas if I just write an instruction to say pass it to bank B, I can start transaction over there. Yeah. That is the basis of it. And interestingly, at the height or the beginning of the whole banking fee issue, when I met with all the CEO of the banks, that was one of the issues that they raised, that competition was compromised because of the lack of portability. They can't port from one bank to the other. And for the past many years, the BOJ, before you, Governor, and since you, has not done anything to ameliorate that situation, and the problem prevails.
Jackson further criticized the regulations of the banking system, the BOJ's silence, and how it has affected its customers.
It really cuts me hard when I hear the deafening silence of the BOJ when the crap being mentioned out there about regulation and undermine the banking system. It's regulations to protect the banking system that has preserved it. And what is being sought with the banking fee regulation is to protect the consumers while the bank's liquidity viability is preserved. Balancing it. None of the banks complaining about losses over all those turbulent periods. None. Yeah. But the depositors, they are the ones who suffer annually. And on the surface of it, Governor, your institution appear complicit with that which has been taking place by the banks because you are the regulator.
The issues came to the fore after the committee was told that there was low take-up of Know Your Customer KYC accounts that were considered low risk. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, May 5, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.69. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $121.70. The pound sterling traded for $192.16, and the euro sold for an average of $166.87. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Thursday's trading session. The JSE index declined by 9 920 points to close at over 400,000 units. The junior market index advanced by 69 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index declined by 248 points to close at over 400,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 432 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 107 stocks, of which 55 advanced, 44 declined, and 8 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 1834 Investments Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were Quest Corporation Limited Ordinary Shares, Jamaica Public Service Company 9.5%, and Lasco Financial Services Limited. The following companies represents the overall volume leaders: Trans Jamaican Highway Limited, Wigton Wind Farm Limited Ordinary Shares, and Tropical Battery Company Limited with over 1 million units. In regional stocks in Trinidad and Tobago, Glico Investment Fund was the sole security trading over 27,000 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, 0 securities were traded on Thursday. The Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago says the country's short-term outlook is expected to improve in 2022, but even so, it notes that a significant increase in COVID-19 caseloads could put a strain on its improvement. Sunil Lala reports.
Growth in the domestic economy is projected to strengthen, driven by expansions in the energy sector. This according to the Central Bank in its 2021 Annual Economic Survey released on Wednesday. It says activity in the non-energy sector is also expected to improve following the gradual reopening of the economy since the third quarter of 2021 and the broad-based rollback of restrictive measures at the end of the first quarter of 2022. But the Central Bank says there are risks to this outlook, including a flare-up in virus caseloads, which it says may elicit a fresh round of containment measures that hamper business activity, curtail employment, and place further strains on available fiscal resources. The Central Bank also predicts that the industrial relations climate is anticipated to be more tense in 2022 due to the rise in the cost of living. It adds that despite improving domestic economic activity, labour market conditions may remain constrained until virus caseloads are effectively contained and vaccinated rates increase among the working age population.
In market data for oil prices climbed for a third straight session, shrugging off concerns about global economic growth as impeding European Union sanction on Russian oil raised the prospect of tighter supply. Brent crude futures rose $1.75 or 1.58% to $112.65 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude climbed $1.57 or 1.45% to $109.83 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, we start in the Bahamas. Activist groups gathered Thursday morning for the launch of the We Won't Rest campaign, demanding the Davis administration do more to protect children from abuse, including accountability for abusers. Jasmine Brown reports.
Until the protection of our youth and society at large is adhered to according to our laws.
The rally, which was organized by Rise Bahamas, was supported by advocates from Families of All Murder Victims, Silent No More, Hannah Carey Cares Foundation, Save Our Children Alliance, Rights Bahamas, Save Our Daughters, the DeMarco Foundation, the Resilience Program, Our Sanctuary, and the Dignified Girl Project. One by one, they all insisted enough is enough when it comes to protecting children.
For too long, we've been leaving communities behind and leaving our children behind. We stand in solidarity with Rise Bahamas as it relates to child abuse, incest, molestation. The intersectional advocacy for all children matters.
I stand because persons feel like nowadays they are entitled. They have some type of entitlement to children's body parts. We need to now send a stiffer penalty and a stronger message to the community that no adult has the right to harm, abuse, or attack a child.
But today I want the survivors in this country to know that we believe you.
Yes.
We are standing with you.
We are giving you the voice that you have been denied for far too long.
Rise Bahamas President Ternille Burroughs offered several recommendations, including the introduction of Bella's Bill, which is named in honor of 4-year-old Deanya Bella Walker. Baby Bella's death sparked national outrage late last year and led to a renewed national conversation about violence against women and children.
Dr. Natalia Swande Wheatley was sworn in as the new Premier of the British Virgin Islands, BVI, a few hours after the House of Assembly unanimously passed a no-confidence resolution revoking the appointment of Andrew Fahey as Premier of the British Overseas Territory. Wheatley was recommended to replace Fahey by other elected officials, and Governor John Rankin confirmed him as the new Premier. He was later sworn into office. The former Premier was arrested last Thursday during a sting operation at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport, along with Managing Director of the BVI Ports Authority, Olivine Maynard, and her son, Kadeem. Meanwhile, Britain's Minister for Overseas Territories, Amanda Milling, says she appreciates that the recent events in the BVI with the arrest of Fahey have been, quote, shocking and concerning for everybody, end quote. She also acknowledged that the report of the Commission of Inquiry examined allegations of corruption and abuse of office by elected and statutory officials had also raised very serious concerns about the failures of governance and dishonesty by elected officials. Barbadians will have to pay even more for fish unless a way is found to give fishermen an ease on fuel prices. That's the position of a number of fishermen who spoke with Lisa Broom from CBC Barbados at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex.
Members of this crew busy loading bait onto their vessel, preparing for a trip. The bait is just part of their pre-sailing costs that include things like ice, food, tackle, and salaries. Now, add the soaring price of fuel, and the fishermen say they're at their breaking point. Everton Brathwaite, who has more than 40 years of fishing under his belt, says things have been getting progressively worse with the successive hikes in fuel prices. So the most recent increase has compounded a bad situation.
I moved from $6,000 a trip to $8,000 since the fuel gone up, you know, and that's just diesel. My expense is about $16,000 a trip.
And he's not the only one. Wayne Rose, a 26-year veteran and boat captain, has described the situation as simply ridiculous.
From 14, 17, and back to 14 and to 58, it is a very high cost now. As a captain carrying a boat, my diesel bill gone another $1,500 to $2,000 on that bill.
One thing they acknowledge is the cost of fish is already high due to many factors, including scarcity. And while they're reluctant to increase prices, it may be the only way for them to earn a living.
If you have to get help, fish price will probably level out at how it is now. But if we don't get help, price have to go up. It must.
Remember, the fish prices are already high already. And if we are get hit in with extra price for diesel, we got to catch the fish, which, you know, price of the fish is really high. So we want some sort of concession or something to do with getting off some of this fuel and letting it ease them.
Now, part of the problem, as Everton points out, is it's cheaper to fuel up outside of Barbados.
I fuel up in St. Vincent many times, and I was saving at least about $3,000 per trip. But it would pay me to go down there to get fuel, to get away from this cost. I would like to spend my money here in Barbados, but if it's going to kill me, I have to go somewhere else to ease the burden.
So what can be done? Well, Donville Brathwaite, who has been fishing for 35 years, says the solution might lie in reverting to an old practice.
I want to know from the minister or the prime minister why we cannot get duty-free fuel again. We used to get it before. They stop it for some reason, and nobody can tell me why. You clear customs, and you can't get duty-free concession from the port. I want to know why that is.
Whatever the situation, the men say they need government intervention and they need it quickly. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
In Antigua and Barbuda, Prime Minister Gaston Brown says development of the island of Barbuda is the solution to making the Barbuda Council financially viable. He says the Peace, Love and Happiness Luxury Resort project alone could rake in millions in revenue. More from ABS TV.
When PLH becomes operational and PLH starts paying ABST to the council, you could get maybe up to $20 million a year, just from PLH alone. Their property taxes for the homeowners, as an example, I can see that getting up to maybe about $10-15 million a year.
The central government provides a subvention to the council for salaries and wages monthly, which the Prime Minister says is usually paid. Now, the payout amounts to about $6 million annually. However, he says the council has been unable to meet its end of the bargain.
And the 40% that the council has a responsibility to raise, it has not been able to do so. And that is because we do not have the type of economic activity taking place within Barbuda.
He says it's a structural issue which would probably still exist even under an ABLP-controlled council, highlighting the need for further development on the sister isle.
President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, has named Caribbean-American Karine Jean-Pierre as the new White House press secretary, replacing Jen Psaki, who leaves the job on May 13. Jean-Pierre, who was born in the French Caribbean island of Martinique to Haitian immigrants, will be the first black woman to serve in that position. She has also been named assistant to the president. Jean-Pierre, who is 44 years old, is a Columbia University graduate. She's currently the principal deputy press secretary and deputy assistant to President Biden. She's a long-time advisor to Biden, having served in senior communication and political roles in the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and to then Vice President Biden in the administration of Barack Obama. In sports, multiple world and Olympic sprint champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce's first international race of the season will see her go head-to-head with last year's World Athletics Under-20 200 meters gold medalist Christine Mboma of Nambia at the Kip Keino Classic Saturday in Nairobi, Kenya. Fraser-Pryce, who began her outdoor season at the Velocity Fest meet last month at the National Stadium in Kingston, will compete in her first 100-meter race of the season in the World Athletics Continental Tour event. Fraser-Pryce is coming off a season debut where she clocked 22.79 seconds in the 200 meters at the Velocity Fest meet on April 23, where she had the lead but slowed down in the final meters to finish second. Mboma currently has the 8th fastest time in the world this year, clocking 10.97 seconds last month in Botswana. She clocked 21.81 seconds, placing second to Jamaica's Elaine Thompson-Herah's personal best of 21.53 at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Meanwhile, controversial American sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson appears to have pulled out of the Kip Keino Classic, which will be held on Saturday. It is being reported that she was billed to compete in the 100 meters against Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Richardson's apparent withdrawal from the meet on the African continent comes amid heightened speculation about her career. It's not every day you find a young lady who wants to get into pageantry, but this was not the case for Dr. Dominique Reed, who saw the JCDC Festival Queen competition for more than just a show. Explaining her reasons for entering, she says it has a lot to do with her chosen field of work.
Every year, this competition builds 13 nation builders right across the island, and I wanted to be a part of that. I knew that as a dentist, dental health care is very important, and I wanted to be able to give back in this capacity of helping others, promoting dental health, especially amongst children, because I see how important it is now that I have returned home to work. I've realized that it is so important to instill dental health care, especially in children, and I wanted to use this platform to do that.
A graduate of the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, she not only took home the crown and the title, but she also walked away with 4 sectional awards for Most Active in Her Community, Best Use of Social Media, Most Culturally Aware Queen, and Best Performance for the Evening. She explains what her project Healthy Smiles Jamaica was all about. She says it was split into 2 phases.
Phase 1 was dental health education, because even with free dental care, if you don't know how to take care of your teeth at home, you're always going to have the same dental issues. So I thought it was important to educate the students in Jamaica about how to take care of their teeth. And then phase 2 was actually providing the dental health care. The aim was to see 590 children, because I became the festival queen in the 59th year of independence. So to celebrate that, I played on the 59 and did 590 students. And it went really, really well. I was able to do dental examinations for all the children, cleanings, and as well as fluoride treatments for the children. And they were able to receive a goodie bag after with their toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, so they could go home and do all of their cleanings. We also created something called the Cavity Free Club, which was to encourage the kids who didn't have any cavities to keep up the good work. And those kids also got an extra prize on the day.
Dr. Reed shares that giving back, service of self, has been a major part of her life.
I've always been a fan of helping others. I believe that giving service is your way of paying for your space on earth. So I've actually been involved in a service club since I've been a child. So since high school, I was in the Key Club, where I used to do a variety of service activities. And then in university, I became very involved in Rotaract, which is the youth arm of Rotary International, where I've been able to give service.
Acting production manager at the JCDC, Andrea McCurdy, says the team loved the idea from the start and even gained some perspective on the journey.
The idea was a brilliant idea. 1. 2, the need for it was so great, and we didn't even understand the depth and magnitude of the need until we got on the road, because children, unfortunately, do not get the kind of dental care. Children, now in its broadest sense, do not get the kind of dental care that they really ought to be getting, because sometimes parents, we have discovered, parents sometimes are so busy just trying to make life and busy just trying to make ends meet, busy just trying to parent them, especially in this COVID-19 reality. It has just been such a stretch and a strain for everybody. And so the children, a lot of times their teeth are neglected sometimes to just keep them quiet, just give them something sweet and that's it. So with this particular project coming on stream, the need was so great and that it was so welcomed.
The Miss Jamaica Festival Queen competition began in 1963 as the Miss Jamaica Beauty Contest. The competition is one of the highlights of the country's annual Emancipation and Independence celebrations.
It's a competition that persons look forward to every year. People, when it was face-to-face, the attendance would be so great, so high. Well-supported program, because you have a representative from each parish, and so each parish is carrying their own banner, carrying their own flag, and supporting their own queen, because for that entire year you have bragging rights.
My mom is a festival queen. She was the first Miss Manchester Festival Queen to become the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen, and that was in 1991. So as a child, actually in the womb, I was going to the Festival Queen competition, and I've never missed a show since then.
Mrs. McCurdy shares how you can get more information about their projects.
The head office, you can call 926-572-69. You can head to the website, which is perhaps the easiest way to get any kind of information about the JCDC. www.jcdc.gov.jm. That's www.jcdc.gov.jm. All the information concerning all of the competitions are there online. And as you click on the website, the page comes up with all the information there. So you simply just need to select whichever competition you're interested in. Rules are there, registration process is outlined for you, everything is outlined for you, and you simply just go and interact with the page, find the information that you need, and then you can apply.
The 2022 JCDC Festival Queen will join the likes of Delia Harris, Tony Shea James Freckleton, Tanisha McGee, Jennifer Small, Crystal Tomlinson, and Sashane McDonald, and of course, Dr. Dominique Reed. So what is the reigning queen expecting from the future queen?
I really hope that the queen to come after me do something like spectacular, like blow me out the water. You know, to really, because this is really what Festival Queen is about.
It is.
Not just the crown and the sash and the coronation night, like all of these things going on now. Like, I hope that whichever parish, hopefully Manchester, comes after me will get to use the platform how it's supposed to be used.
This year, Jamaica celebrates 60 years of independence, and Jamaicans, home or abroad, can look forward to seeing participants who are intelligent, culturally aware, poised, and are looking for a platform to contribute to nation building while representing their parish as the next Miss Jamaica Festival Queen. And that's our weekend package of the news on PBC Jamaica. Remember to follow us on all social media pages at PBC Jamaica. Thank you so much for watching.